One of the things that I find most entertaining in this current political climate is finding videos or media articles coming from people who seem to have been living under a rock for the last 6 years, only for them to emerge and say things where they're trying to make themselves look like they are an absolute expert in the field when they blatantly have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. When it comes to people like this, there really is no way that you're ever going to make them see sense because, like your gran always told you, you can't argue with stupid. But when they spew lies and try and mislead the public through any form of media, what our job is to correct them and make sure that the public only see facts and don't buy into the complete bullshit that these people are producing. And I really, really enjoy doing that, which is why I do what I do. I also like money. I'm joking. YouTube demonetizes like all of my shit. And I've been made aware of a lost soul that needs my help. A soul in need of saving.
Black identity extremism is bullshit.
My Habibi, there is something I must show you. A beautiful and magical place where the knowledge of the universe unfolds before your feet and gives you access to the purest form of enlightenment. A wealth of knowledge so vast that it permeates every single fabric of space-time throughout the entire cosmos itself. So take my hand and come with me to reality.
They make him drink from the toilet. They shout expletives against white people.
There's no ethical reason as to why white people deserve to live. Furring black life means that white death has to occur. That's why you should lose this debate and why your life ain't worth affirming.
And the one idea is how we are going to exterminate white people, because that, in my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon! Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon! Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon!
Black identity extremism is the FBI's latest tactic to criminalize black activists and justify increased police presence in black communities.
Being a black activist is not a crime, so I've no idea what the fuck you're talking about. However, things like assault, attacking police officers, destruction of property, vandalism and rioting in the streets have always been crimes as far as I've been aware, so I'm not really sure what's changed here. No matter who you are, you will get arrested if you do any of that stuff. So, just because you're a black activist doesn't mean that you're suddenly exempt from, the law. As for police presence being increased in black neighbourhoods, it's because a lot of crime happens in black neighbourhoods. For example, here in Scotland, our poor neighbourhoods are pretty much 99% white. And because they're very, very poor, they have a higher rate of crime. So the police do this really, really weird thing where they go to the areas where the crime is. It's kind of a requirement for them to do their job.
If you look up black identity extremism, you won't find it online anywhere, because prior to a recent FBI report, it didn't exist.
You do know that just because a term has been invented to describe something doesn't mean that the thing that the term is describing didn't exist up until that point. It doesn't fucking work like that. It's also extremely puzzling that someone who's obviously a black activist like yourself has never ever heard of the Black Panthers, who were actually established in 1966 and were themselves branded as a black extremist group by the FBI. As detailed in this FBI document dated 29th of October 1969, where they warned other FBI agents to be very, very careful when arranging meetings with Black Panther members, because Black Panther members used to try and arrange meetings with FBI agents with the intention of fucking murdering them. Like, I don't know how much more extremist you can get. So black identity extremism isn't something new. The term is new, but we've had black identity extremism since before you were fucking born.
The report that introduced the term was released August 3rd, only a few days before the deadly white supremacist rally that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. In the report, the FBI creates a narrative of a dangerous, racially motivated group.
Is Black Lives Matter not a racially motivated group? The group called Black Lives Matter. Okay. Also, Black Lives Matter is a dangerous group, as we've already demonstrated.
Whose perceptions of police brutality against black people have spurred increased violence against law enforcement.
Yeah, when you attack police, you don't really get to cry when they attack you back.
Right-wing extremism leads to far more police deaths than what the report cites.
That is very interesting.
And this year alone, 168 black people have been killed by police.
That would mean approximately 614 white people have been killed by the police this year, according to the police shootings database, but continue.
In fact, white supremacists and right-wing extremism are responsible for 73% of deadly US domestic terror attacks since 2001.
Interesting. I wonder who had the highest percentage before that completely arbitrary date that you chose. Also, even though there have been right-wing terror attacks, it doesn't come anywhere close to that percentage. Stop lying. Also, merely pointing out that other people commit violent acts doesn't excuse you from committing violent acts yourself.
And have killed more than 2/3 of police officers compared to their left-wing counterparts.
Did you know that if one guy murders one man, and one guy murders 100 men, they're still both pieces of shit?
Despite these stats, police kill black people 2.5 times more than they kill white people, and kill unarmed black people 5 times the rate that they kill unarmed white people. So, what is this distracting us from? In 2009, the FBI's Countering Violent Extremism Unit released a report indicating that the greatest domestic threat to the US was the rise of right-wing extremism.
Wow, I wonder what has actually caused the rise in white nationalism. It would have absolutely nothing to do with the fact that a lot of people are getting attacked just for being white, getting called racists and Nazis just because they're white, being told to get off campuses just because they're white, or just getting fucked with in general by minority interest groups. It's obviously got nothing to do with that though. It's just something that just happens. Isn't it hilarious that the far left say that Muslim extremists exist because white people keep fucking with them? But when it comes to white far-right extremists, they say that they exist because they're white.
A rise that was a backlash to the first black president.
I get told constantly that America is just such a racist and Nazi-loving country that I'm absolutely blown away that such a racist nation had a democratically elected black president for 2 fucking terms. What you're talking about is the political pendulum. Whenever a country gets a left-wing president, come next election time they'll favour the right-wing one, and then vice versa, and so on and so on. That's the way it's been in pretty much every fucking nation.
When this report was released, the Republican Party took offense to the political overlap and gutted the department. Today, under the Trump administration, the Countering Violent Extremism body has been turned into Countering Islamic Extremism.
What's wrong with that?
And now they've created the myth of black identity extremism.
I have just proven that it's not a myth, so shut the fuck up, cunt!
All while right-wing extremism grows unchecked.
Yeah, because the FBI totally hasn't been going after the KKK for fucking decades. It's not unchecked because you do know that if anyone on the right wing breaks a law, they get arrested just like everyone else, yeah? No one is exempt from the law, you fucking weapon.
Right-wing extremists are violently anti-police and anti-government and have killed more people than any other group since 2001.
I'm travelling the universe. Still trying to find a fucking citation.
Today there's a minimum of 450 known white supremacist and right-wing extremist groups in the US. This is far more than any other group.
Don't worry, you guys are well on your way to matching that number. Equality.
Despite these overwhelming numbers, the FBI can only cite 6 examples of premeditated violence against police. The examples indicate very different circumstances and ideologies, with race being the only common thread. They cite the killing of Michael Brown as a galvanizing moment, making clear that the FBI is connecting this to Black Lives Matter, a consistent subtext throughout the report.
Well, if the FBI feels that black identitarianism is causing a lot of problems, then they're going to focus their attention on the main black identitarian group, one that we've proven encourages violence towards police.
The FBI is politically motivated to find an equivalent to white supremacists, even where one doesn't exist.
Black supremacists don't exist. Janaya, what does floor varnish taste like?
This is simply the latest tactic the FBI is using to justify tracking and criminalizing black activists.
No, the FBI have identified that black extremism is an offshoot of black activism, and so they are stepping up their efforts in order to prevent crimes from happening. It's called law enforcement.
The most famous example being COINTELPRO in the late 1950s, designed to infiltrate and neutralize black nationalist movements.
That was in the past, it's not happening now, I don't fucking care.
This report will be used to criminalize and surveil black activists seeking an end to police brutality.
We both know that that isn't all you want. If you don't want the police to pay your group any attention, then what you should do is tidy your fucking house and remove unwanted or violent people from your group. If you don't want any attention from the police, remove people from your group that would bring the police's attention. Another thing that might make the police think that you're a bit of a threat is when one of the idols of your group, you know, one of the people that you pretty much worship, murdered a fucking police officer.
And most alarmingly, the only consistent thread that classifies black identity extremism is being black.
Being black is associated with black identity extremism.
The very premise of black identity extremism is racist.
So doesn't that mean when you were earlier associating being white with white identity extremism that you were also being racist yourself, Janaya? Well done in coming out as racist. You've taken the first big step towards self-improvement. I'm so happy that one of you has finally decided to be honest and just come out as a fucking racist. Oh, your father would have been so proud if you knew who he was.
Anti-black racism and Islamophobia are being used to trick people to focusing away from the very dangerous reality of right-wing extremism and white supremacy in the US.
Black identity extremism is a bad thing. Far-right extremism is also a bad thing. Both of these things are breaking the law. The police are focused on both of them. You don't just get to point out the bad things being done by one group and expect the police to completely ignore all the bad things that you're doing. It doesn't fucking work like that.
The FBI has done this before. We cannot allow them to do it again.
Can't let them do what? Their fucking job?
Black is beautiful.
If you don't want to get the attention of the cops, then don't lead chants that encourage hurting cops or celebrating a cop killer. Just because other people commit crimes doesn't mean that you are suddenly allowed to commit crimes yourself. Can you imagine if that's how the world worked? What if just because other people commit sexual assault would mean that you yourself are totally allowed to commit sexual assault? Male feminists would have a fucking field day.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.